Contrary to popular belief, you're not supposed to try to control your thoughts. You know how many thoughts we have in just 2 seconds? You know how many thoughts we have in a day? What should be taught and talked about is changing your belief, changing and challenging the thought forms that you're subscribed to. Your beliefs are the grandparents, your thoughts are the parent. I know my finger crooked. I get it from my mama. And your actions are the grandchildren. Change the thought forms that you're subscribed to instead of your thoughts. Change your beliefs, not your thoughts. It won't happen overnight though. Don't beat yourself up because it's not happening overnight. And you beating yourself up is a thought form that needs to be challenged. It's deep, ain't it? This is just a piggyback video off the change your beliefs, not thoughts video. Cause in this age, we got the whole law of attraction and change your thoughts and this will happen. But it's actually deeper than that. When something is popular, when it's a popular mantra being pushed, definitely got to question it, which is really the basis of what we're going to be talking about. Asking why, questioning our beliefs, questioning the thought forms we subscribe to. Because with these videos, piercing the subconscious of the creative community, video by video. So I'm going to read chapter 2 of Manifest Wealth and Prosperity with Thought Forms and Servitors by John Kreiter. I hope one of those is right. And look at who we got joining us. We got Reba the Diva. Say what's up. I know that's right. Let's get into it. So he's going over the major differentiation of a thought and beliefs and belief structures. Because this is a big misconception nowadays. The reality, though, is that beliefs and belief systems are not that complex. And there's no need to think that the beliefs that we hold are somehow beyond our ability to uncover or to change. So when I read that, I think of certain things like you can't teach an old dog new tricks and things like that. Although it is harder to change things the older we get, depending on the open-mindedness of the person and their neural pathways, you know, by even subscribing to that thought form, like you're defeating yourself, like really getting to the bottom of questioning everything. I felt this video was so necessary because to be successful and thriving, we really have to question a lot of things. And it is deeper than just, I want to sell some paintings, I want to sell beats, I want to sell this, I want to sell this. We really got to question a lot of things subconsciously before we get to a certain plateau. One could also say that a belief is the type of faith or unwavering confidence that a certain thing is so. A belief system then could be classified as a mutually supported set of beliefs. Now that goes into egregores. That is, a belief system could be a group of beliefs that are held by many and can come together to create a philosophical or religious dogma, for example. Christianity, wink, wink. So personal beliefs and the whole sum of a person's belief structure can seem a bit complicated because we all usually have many opposing beliefs all coming together to create a large structure that is made up oftentimes of many divergent ideas and intents. When I read that, I think of how, okay, you have the main thought form and egregore, Christianity, but you have certain sectors. You got Baptist, Catholic, even Gnostic, so on and so forth. All of these beliefs are available to the conscious mind. There is no giant reservoir of unconscious beliefs buried deep within some dark and infantile subconscious mind. All beliefs can be explored as long as you are willing to do some mental introspection and are brave enough to explore the whys behind your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Like he previously stated, beliefs are not that deep. As long as you are willing to question yourself and not just take your present cognitive function as is. I got a post I'm gonna make about this. Not being a victim to our current cognitive function and not being a victim to our soft nodes, really. Thoughts, and therefore our perception of them, is highly complicated, and the intricacy of all this requires a good understanding of quantum logic. Thoughts completely defy modern concept of cause and effect and are made up of a substance that has a formative and organizational power that is even now beyond our scientific understanding. Belief and belief structures, on the other hand, follow a causal logic that we all are familiar with and that we can work with intuitively with great difficulty. This is highly advantaged because it is through the mastery of personal beliefs that we are able to direct our thoughts and create the kind of reality we want. So he goes on to say, even seasoned professionals in this field could get quite confused by all of this. It is this critical misunderstanding that is responsible for much of the grief that people are experiencing when they try to practice mental action. So the misunderstanding is, it's expected. It's a complex subject in itself. So if you're trying to change your thoughts, then you come across like, oh, I should change my beliefs. Don't beat yourself up, player. The biggest mistake that I have seen is the assumption that beliefs are thoughts that you have often. While this might be true in a very general sense, beliefs are actually not your thoughts at all. They are actually a type of psychic structure that props up and aligns thoughts. In parentheses, see how difficult it is to use language to explain subjective reality. A belief or a belief system is a type of structure that you construct, and on this structure you create your reality through your thoughts, especially emotionally charged thoughts. Your beliefs are not the thoughts that you have often. I had a post about this too, but how we can have these grandiose ideas of what we want to do and what we see ourselves, but have naivety of our habits, and we are naive of the thought forms we are subscribed to. Check that video out. That video is called Your Fear of Being Seen is Hurting Your Network. So think about when you present someone a new idea, specifically with, we just gonna say religious things, spiritual beliefs. People will go very hard for that. They'll go hard for a thought form they didn't even create. So just think about all the emotional energy behind that belief. And it takes a minute to even uncover that. Even a lot of spiritual people, we still have religious trauma. Ask any person who practices hoodoo, it probably took them a minute to even pick the Bible back up. So your beliefs are the underlying structures that cause you to have certain thoughts often. We attach it to our identity. We attach it to our personal identity, even to our creative identity. Our beliefs are tested often from whatever divine source you want to believe in our trying times. But most of the time, they are unwavering. Look at any interview of someone that's successful. When they was down bad, homeless, sleeping in their car, whatever, they had the belief that I am going to make it. I got too much talent for this. I'm going to make it. So no matter the circumstances, whether pleasant or unpleasant, they still have that belief. I am talented. My gifts will be shared, so on and so forth. So it's like an umbrella. You got the source and you got the streams. You can look at it like that. Your belief is the source of income. And your thoughts are the streams of income. Many of the current theories on manifestation and changing reality revolve around the idea that you need to change those thoughts that you have often. Wink, wink, The Secret. Some even argue that beliefs are indeed the thoughts that you have often, but this is actually an oftentimes costly fallacy. Beliefs are the structures that cause you to have certain thoughts often. They are therefore not the thoughts that you have often, but the psychic structures that cause you to have certain thoughts often. So it's a crucial and specific difference in this definition between beliefs and thoughts. So you can't just wake up one day and be like, I gotta change my thoughts, when you got all this subconscious gunk that needs to be cleared out, which is your beliefs. The affirmation's not really gonna do anything if you're not switching your beliefs around and questioning why, like a little kid. Even in the occult and self-development through darker aspects of spirituality, it comes back to the inner child. Why this, why that? So we got to do that inward. Why do I do this? Why do I not f with people? Why do I beat myself up when I make a mistake? So now right here, he's going to get into an example, creating a scenario with a character. So let's say you have an underlying belief that there is no gain without sacrifice, or as people like to say, no pain, no gain. Perfect example. Just think of any quote, think of any quote any cliche quote that will be considered a belief, a psychic structure, a thought form. So just think of it like that. This is a very common belief because, as we might see by looking around our world, for most things in life, you have to give something in order to get something back. In many religions, there's a concept of struggle in order to find redemption. And even in modern science, we find concepts such as entropy and causation that tend to indicate that energy or effort must be given in some form in order to get something back. An unexamined belief like this one often means that you find it very difficult to get anything without quite a bit of effort on your part. This is also because you most likely also believe that the more effort that you make, the greater your reward. So it could be that the only way that you think you can gain wealth is through intense effort and pain. The harder you work, the more you get. Anything that is not painful, involves a great deal of effort, will not get you a hefty reward. As a result, many forms of wealth creation can be denied to you. So the beliefs and thought forms that you subscribe to can energetically cut you off from certain opportunities. Somebody ever question your thoughts and you say, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. And holding on to a belief like this one cause you to be naive to what's going on in the collective in this age of opportunity, where you can essentially not put too much time into something and still create wealth. Although I will point out, no matter what you do, you will have to trade your time, but some things are more so just steal time, like you reading and learning something instead of vigorous labor. Now, it might be the case that you can become wealthy by working 60-hour weeks, sacrificing a great deal of time and energy, building your business perhaps over decades until you have succeeded in creating a big nest egg for yourself. This common belief can greatly drain you and use up your youth and vitality, so that at the end of your struggle to succeed, you might finally have all that you wanted, but now have little energy to enjoy any of it. You might begin to experience new problems as you try to reconcile the idea that you are no longer working or marking any kind of effort, and therefore, according to this belief and others that are a consequence of it, useless. So you realizing you have given a lot of energy into this thought form you're going off of and subscribe to, but then you realize you get the short end of the stick, basically. But how does this all happen? How do beliefs create all of this? What makes all of this happen is concentrated human attention and the thought forms that you have created and fed, oftentimes unbeknownst to you because you never took the time to examine what you believe. Beliefs focus your attention, and this focus of attention causes you to have thoughts of a certain nature. These thoughts cause emotions that feed these thoughts and create thought forms. Before long, you are experiencing what you are believing. Now I want to go back to the because you never took the time to examine what you believe. Very dangerous, especially because a lot of things we are fed from perceived authority, media, our parents. Think of a belief as a type of underlying scaffolding, like the bones that hold a large structure like a body together. When you believe that something is true or not true, you accept that something is real or not real. Knowing that something is or isn't is a belief. They both true if you can't or you think you can. Like I said in Plan of Action. Out now on all streaming platforms. A belief once accepted narrows the focus of the person that holds that belief. It is sort of like putting blinders on yourself and then forgetting that you have blinders on. Going back to the no pain, no gain. Because a person believes in no pain, no gain, he will focus his attention in such a way that he will see the truth of his belief everywhere. So just because you're naive to certain other beliefs doesn't mean you won't come in contact with it. You will just completely ignore or deny anything that's opposing what you holding on to. And sometimes it doesn't even matter the dynamic of the person that's questioning what you're saying. So oftentimes without ever realizing that we are doing this happens because beliefs focus human attention, and as such, they direct the flow of unconscious thought in a particular direction. So, streamline, basically. This person sees someone working hard. He would think, that is a good person and they are going to go far. He sees someone who lives a charmed life, who seems to just stumble upon all success and wealth. He would think, that is a spoiled brat, a user who couldn't make it without the hard work of others. When I read that, I think of like, okay, you're trying to be an entrepreneur while you're living in the house with your parents who are traditional, go to work 60 hours to build wealth, but you have your own e-commerce store that's gradually building and scaling. One idea, the entrepreneur, there isn't a cap on it, but the other idea, the other belief, go to work, so on, it's a cap on that. So it's a scale. This theoretical person continues to hold this belief in no pain, no gain without perhaps ever examining it or questioning it in any way. He concentrates more and more thought energy and attention into what he considers to be a true and unchanging fact. With thoughts, we create emotions. So when he thinks, I have to work really hard to get ahead, he might experience great anxiety or fear as these thoughts attract others that focus his mind in a direction that has him questioning if he has enough work or energy to get the money that he needs to survive. Beliefs direct his focus, and as thoughts generate emotions, he begins to supply the thoughts that he experiences with incredible power. This continues until strong thought forms of all sorts are created. Thoughts and emotions are the most powerful forces that we have at our disposal, and these are directed by attention, which is controlled by beliefs. So even if we don't have that many physical resources, we have unseen resources. Whether the spirits that walk with us, our connection with our Ori, which comes first, no matter what spirit walk with us, no matter what ancestors we venerate. Empowering ourselves first. Spirituality is not a escape to look outside yourself. That's another belief we got to question. This is not to just escape and, I'm about to work with this spirit and that spirit. How you going to work with this spirit? You ain't even question your beliefs. But that spirit will do that for you, though. They will lead you down the path to question what it is you are subscribing to. Okay, Our hypothetical person begins to examine his beliefs and finding that while the belief in no pain, no gain might have been helpful at an earlier point in his life, it no longer works as well for him as it once did. Reading that highlight, I think of how business changes throughout the years, how you're supposed to market and brand your business changes over the years. So a couple years ago, you might have seen people passing out a bunch of flyers, but now you can post content consistently for 30 days and have a scalable difference in your brand and business. And the results of who's engaging is still viewable. You might see your flyers on the floor, but nowadays you can see who clicked on this, who stayed on your site, the metadata, etc. He begins to try to control all his thoughts. He tries to change that thought by focusing on something better. He might be saying some positive affirmations as often as he can during the day. Like I just said, the affirmations can't really work if you got all this subconscious gunk that's opposing that. He begins to experience some problems. He is finding it harder and harder to stay focused on positive thoughts. The more that he tries to focus his thoughts in the direction that he wants, the harder it gets. Whenever he loses his tight concentration that he needs to maintain to keep his thoughts in order, his mind snaps him back to the thoughts of pain and struggle. So you ever heard somebody say some grand idea, and as they keep talking, their belief or how they go about every day kind of contradicts that or opposes that? Essentially the same idea. His very effort seems to be proving that the belief that he so wants to change. And he confirms this belief in pain for gain even further by putting his nose to the grindstone and committing himself to work harder in order to get what he wants from his thought power work. By believing that his beliefs are just thoughts that he has often, he will then try to change these individual thoughts one at a time without much success. It will feel very much like someone trying to stop a gushing pipe with just hands. He covers one hole, but then the water starts coming out from another area. He covers that area, and then another leak sprouts out. He is never able to stop the flow of water or negative thoughts. And these negative thoughts will never stop because he is not addressing the one thing that he needs to address, which is his belief. If he continues to try to stop every single thought, he will create a mental state where he is constantly tense and paranoid of his own mind. He might even develop some tension-related issues as a result of all this effort. Crucial point right here. He might even develop some tension-related issues as a result. This goes into things showing up in our body, health problems showing up in our body because of our mental anguish or just mundane responsibilities and it causing stress. Because certain health problems can't be explained by diet or lifestyle. Lifestyle and diet is a internal unseen thing as well. So now one is thinking, how do I change a belief then? Couple highlight points from his methods I'm gonna go over. So the best way to change a belief is to explore this belief until you find where that assumption has been made and make a change there at the core. This goes into the keep asking why. I highlighted these points. I think these are crucial. But what about? Why is it? But what about this? But what about this example that I see from this person that goes against my belief? Or why is it that this person does this and they believe that and that's working out for them and I believe this and it's not necessarily working out for me? Sometimes we can't really see outside of ourselves and outside of the thought forms we feed them because we don't really have anybody to bounce that idea off of, or sometimes people, because of our dynamic, they might not question what we saying. Some people, like Four Diamonds, they don't like when their beliefs are questioned. Exploring these questions with an open mind will begin to soften the hard wall that this belief has created around itself. This is not in the book, but this goes into a quote I seen from Dan Coe, where he says, "Identity restricts perspective." This definitely applies to these points. Because if we have such a strong and unwavering idea and not being open-minded, this will cause us to not grow with our natural change. And it will even spill over into us trying to stop habits that we want to stop doing. To discover your personal beliefs, you have to be willing to explore the reason for your thoughts, feelings, and actions. You do this by asking yourself one simple question: why? Why? Like a curious little kid. I work all day, every day because I want to get ahead. Then the question becomes, why do you need to work so hard to get ahead? Because you have to work hard to get there. Why? Simple like that, because you got people who subscribe to the thought of, I need to work hard to get ahead. But then you also got the quote of, work smarter, not harder. Sometimes we don't want to question ourselves because I'm a grown-ass man, I'm a grown-ass woman, or this is just the way I am. Kind of like a Tony Soprano kind of approach, you know? Why? But what do you mean why? That's just the way it is. And here is an assumption that you consider a fact. But this assumption can be proven to be true or false, depending on your life circumstances. And our circumstances in life will change. Going back to an assumption that we consider a fact, we can attach our identity to an assumption and just run off that for years and years. Now, attached to that assumption that we attach to is a stream of habits, a stream of thought, and a stream of circumstances. And what decides your life circumstances? Your beliefs, of course, which are the assumptions that you believe to be facts. Asking why over and over again will always get you to the one core belief that is supporting all the beliefs that are causing you to feel, think, and act in a certain way. Now, this mental scaffolding will completely alter its shape to suit a new belief structure, which will then cause you to have different thoughts, feel different feelings, take different actions, and eventually create a completely different life for yourself. So you're creating a whole new family. Generally speaking, beliefs take a long time and a lot of repetition to create. This is the natural type of belief creation that is imposed on all of us from the day we are born. It relies on authority figures, your mom and dad, your teachers, the intelligentsia, society at large, repeating things over and over until you believe what they believe and your external beliefs aligns with what they believe and what they are also experiencing themselves. So this is why no matter the dynamic, we have to question what the person is saying. Repetition and time create new neural pathways within our brain that you then learn to accept as fact and call reality. This belief creation process can take years or decades to shape your neural patterns and therefore your external reality. So, slow motion is better than no motion. That applies to even with changing your beliefs. It's Damon Chambers for firstbornart.com. I appreciate y'all engagement. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the Creative Accountability playlist below. Peace.